Awesome to see everybody. Smiling faces. Hey, Mr. Clay, doing all right? Great to see you, man. And Stacey, thanks for jumping in as well. We'll have a whole bunch more people joining us. Today is our guest speaker, and we are absolutely thrilled to bring our person in. We might just hang out for 2 or 3 minutes as we've got a couple more people jumping in until we do the official intro, and we'll fire away because I think today's session is going to be exciting. One definitely for the notepad and paper, take it out and take some notes and make sure you got your thinking cap on. It's going to be exciting. So we've got to actually. I'll just preface this. Hamza, you and I have got an appointment later on where I'm going to do an interview with you as an influencer. Man, I've seen your Instagram reels and your following just absolutely skyrocket through the roof. So I'm excited to dive into that. So this first training, guys, for those who are watching in the group or those who are joining us a little bit later on, we're going to ask Hamza to go through his zone of genius, which is automation. I mean, the man built the Automation Academy and has more skills in that area than anybody I've ever met. So it's going to be incredible. But later on, we're going to talk about the growth of you as a channel. So this first bit is, man, I'm my fingers are itchy just to see what you can build, man, and see how you put all that together. So it should be fun times. Johan, I know that you and Hamza have been talking during the week and getting everything
Yeah,
ready for
man.
today. So
So Hamza and I, we met in line waiting for an award at the Go High Level conference.
that's
And
right.
the dude, I thought you were like 15 years old. Right? And you have to be the youngest Platinum Award winner. You got to be
By
for
far.
sure.
Yeah.
And then your story just absolutely blew me away. You said, "Hey man, I was just in my bedroom building these things, and then here I am a year, I think it was a year later, right? About a year later, like the shortest time period, picking up a platinum award on stage at Go High Level. And you're like, I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know there was 12. I was so
Unreal.
blown away by you being so humble by your ability to share everything you're learning. Your channel. I love your channel. It's one of my favorite channels that pops up on Instagram. The community that you've built inside, I think, did you build it in school? You built your community in school and just the growth. So I'm super excited for today. Hamza, my friend, over to you. Take it
Yeah,
away.
let's
I'm gonna
go,
sit back
guys.
and take some notes.
The founder of Automation Academy and the man that is creating
He's,
all
he's
kinds
got,
of automations out there. There we go. I think once you mute, we have to
Yeah,
let you
perfect.
unmute.
I was
There you
trying to
go.
signal I can't unmute myself.
I can't
Perfect.
get it. I can't get in. Nice, man. So, dude, we are so excited to have you walk us through what you've built and how you came to bring all that together. So, dude, I have literally got
Yeah,
my notepad sitting right here. I can't wait.
absolutely, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the introduction. I don't know if it's so much humbleness as it is just like being naive. I had no idea of what this entire ecosystem was. I came across Go High Level about 3 years ago, guys, just from a random ad. I knew that this was for me. My background was in corporate sales. I wanted something where I could just sell for myself. I was always looking for a side hustle. I fell into it. And then the rest of the story is just history. So that's what I'm going to walk you guys through today. So I've just prepared
Awesome.
like a little session, some stuff I'm going to share with you guys. Let me know if you can see it,
yep.
and we'll just
Uh,
jump into
I
it.
see your screen there.
there you go. Yep.
Cool,
Go for it.
perfect. So I was coming up with the topic for this presentation. So my background is, of course, in AI and automation. That's really what I've built and what I've created. But I didn't want this to be a session where I'm just walking you through the basics of, what that is. Here's how to build a trigger and an automation and make .com and stuff, because I'm sure you can find that information anywhere online. So it's very publicly available. So I wanted to basically share my story, the learnings that I found along the way to build what I've built. And then I know a lot of you guys are probably at different scenarios and stages of your agency career. So I think there's different parts of this where you will probably find value depending, no matter where you are. So I just wanted to share that entire journey, what I found and what I've built. And I think there's a lot of value to be found. So basically, what I want to cover is the foundations of an automation agency. If you guys don't know, and if that is an interest or a pivot that you are looking for, I do want to break it down because I think it is one of the most viable business models right now, and it's only going to get better and crazier with the latest tools we're getting and all that. So I want to touch upon that a bit on how I've differentiated myself as an agency and how other people can do that as well. How I leverage Go High Level's AI specifically. So the foundation of everything that I build is still on Go High Level, and how I use that to win the Platinum SaaSpreneur Award, as Johan said, probably as one of the youngest and quickest people to do that. An achievement that I didn't even know was impressive until I got there and everybody was congratulating me and saying, that's actually quite cool. How I leveraged AI and automation, what I was building to build a relatively big following. We've got about 200,000 followers across everything, and how I've channeled all that traffic into a school community, which is one of the biggest active communities for AI and automation. How I teach it, how I fostered that entire ecosystem. So for you guys who don't know me, and I'm sure a lot of people don't, I just want to give a quick introduction, a little bit of a humble brag. But my name is Hamza Baig. I go by Hamza Automates on social platforms. I run Hexona Systems and the Automation Institute. I was one of the first people to capitalize on the AI trend when ChatGPT first came out. So I was running my Go High Level SaaS, and my clients actually brought ChatGPT to me, mentioning that this is super cool. You guys should check it out. Initially, I brushed it off. I'm not a tech person. So my background is in finance and sales. I have never written a line of code. So that's really interesting. That's why people resonate to me because I speak to beginners where I'm like, if I can do this, anybody can do this, right? So I decided to make that pivot when I saw the demand for AI, decided to learn all about prompt engineering and make myself into an expert. And then since then, just grown that into becoming a leading authority in this space and obviously winning the SaaSpreneur Awards as well, building that school community, like I mentioned, which you guys can check out at school.com/automate, and then my social platforms as well. I just passed 100K 2 days ago on Instagram, which is a pretty cool achievement.
Congratulations, man. Well done.
Thank you, appreciate it. And I also won Go High Levels Affiliate Award. So I was a handful of people who was able to win both. So not only building an agency for myself, but also helping affiliates do it as well successfully, which I'm also very proud of. And a few other things. I'm an official partner of Make.com, so I'm very deeply entrenched in this AI automation world. I partner with all the latest tools and the platforms, and I give discounts to my community and my members. So it's something that I've really encompassed myself. So just jumping into my story with Go High Level. So I imagine everyone here is familiar with it. And I started out exactly the same with everyone else as a SaaS. That's how it was sold to me, like an all-in-one tool that you can sell to everybody and everyone. And I think the golden years of selling that were probably like 2022, 2023, where it's like this, there's a novelty associated with this where the product can basically sell itself and carry its own weight. But what I found now and progressing through that is the insane value stack that it has and the fact that they keep adding stuff to it is both its advantage because obviously it can do so much, but it's also its curse in the sense of overwhelm, inability to know what to sell, how to stack offers, and even just onboarding clients. As soon as they see everything, from our perspective, it looks like, oh, this is amazing. They're going to get so much value. They're going to love it. But on their side, they're like, what the hell am I looking at? What is going on? They check out, they get fatigued, they cancel, right? So that's what I realized early on. And the fact that the platform kept growing was like this problem is only getting worse. Pairing that with the commoditization of Go High Level, because there's over 70,000 agencies now, the edge you have is pretty much gone. Everyone's kind of selling, commoditizing the same thing, and it's become a race to the bottom where everyone's selling the same platform for cheaper and cheaper. And even, a lot of people are bypassing their terms of service and selling it for, 10, $15. So that's not a sustainable market for us to compete in. So I had to pivot and figure out a way to leverage this platform because I love it. And the fact that it can do so much, I wanted to stay within its ecosystem, but find a different way to leverage that. So I pivoted myself into an AI automation agency, which was run on the back of Go High Level. So for me, Go High Level is simply just a tool. It's a tool like Make.com is, like ChatGPT is, like anything else is. It's a tool that allows me to achieve an outcome for my clients, but it's not the end product. I never go into a business meeting saying I run a software company or I have this SaaS and this is what I'm presenting you. I go with the intention of what is your problem, and then I'm going to find a solution. And on the back end, Go High Level is the mechanism to achieve that outcome. So it's all outcome and solution first. There's no mention of Go High Level or the SaaS. So what's interesting is if you look at all of my branding, if you look at my Instagram, my socials, my websites, there is no mention of Go High Level. Nobody at a surface level would ever know, or even of my software, nobody would know that this is what I'm a part of. I'm an affiliate or a SaaSpreneur winner with Go High Level. So the association is, it's the disassociation is somewhat intentional, but it's also that I'm very outcome and solution oriented. It's all about the systems that I build, and nobody could care less what I use to build that system. It's simply just the mechanism behind the scenes. So that's something that I had to realize. And when I made that switch, where it's like I'm not reliant on the tool, but rather the outcome, that's when deals became so easy because now I would go to a business and I would do a discovery call or an audit and I'd find their pain points. And in my head, I'm not thinking, how can I find a way to shove Go High Level down their throat, but how can I build a solution that could maybe incorporate Go High Level, could maybe not. And most of the time, the answer was yes, Go High Level can do the solution, but it wasn't the end all be all. And I think a lot of people put themselves into that bucket where it's like, I need to find a way that Go High Level fits this problem, or I'm not going to do the deal. So that was a big learning curve for me, and that's really the crux of an automation agency. We're problem solvers and we're outcome first. Because if you were product and solution first, then you're competing with everybody, and the market is homogenized. So that was the first thinking that I had to separate. Then it was like, okay, so now I'm focused on outcomes, but anybody can offer that same outcome. So how do you differentiate yourself at an even deeper level where it's like, if someone is saying they're going to help answer all of your leads and someone else is saying the same thing, what makes them go with me? How would they pick that, right? So that's the other rabbit hole I fell into. So everyone picked up on this wave and everyone started selling automations. And then it became all about the chatbots and missed call text back and the reputation management workflows. There was this new wave of templatized automations with the idea of outcomes. So that's what happened. Templates really took off. But again, templates aren't a feasible way to kind of run a business. You're going to realize that things have to be tailored, they have to be bespoke. There's nuances with every implementation you do. So again, that's the pivot I had to take. So what happens is when people go with templates, obviously I'm sure you guys have seen this, but that leads to churn. It leads to systems not working, and then the prices would have to remain to stay low. So, like I mentioned, the focus changed to outcomes. We had to basically sell on the competitive advantage. How will this help me win against my competition? Find them systems that already integrate into the way that they do business. So, a lot of people when they sell Go high level, the intention was always, how can we do a migration? How can I move you away from your current ecosystem and bring you into ours, just because of all the benefits it has? And that was your proposition, right? Cancel all these subscriptions and come into my ecosystem. I realized that that is far too much friction, and that was really the problem of why people were saying no. Because a lot of people are happy in the way that they operate, the systems that they have. It's just, if you can work within their ecosystem, that is where the value really is. Taking what they're doing today and just making it 10 times easier. And that's the switch that I had. So I stopped doing Go high level migrations altogether unless it was extremely necessary. I would allow Go high level to connect to whatever they were using behind the scenes in the backend. So they never even accessed the platform, and using make.com or N8N or Zapier, all that magic was happening behind the scenes. And they were simply getting reports and database and dashboards and visibility on what Go high level was doing without even knowing that that was the system on the back end. So that's the way that I leverage it, as just a tool and never for what it was. And I think that was a big differentiator for me, because now the clients were happy. They're like, everything we were doing stays the same, but now it's like automated, and there's tasks being taken off my plate that I didn't have to worry about. So the results there were also very, very useful. So now I mentioned like differentiating your agency and the automations and outcomes you offer. I think that's a very, very important point, because in everything that I do, a lot of it is like semantics based. It's all of it is very intentional branding. So, for example, I don't ever say I have a school community. I would say I have an automation incubator. When I talk about my automation agency, like I use different terms and verbiage that make things sound more unique than they are. Like everything is very calculated and intentional, because you want to sound different, even if you're not. There's marketing that goes behind this, and it plays a lot into psychology. So here are some ways that I differentiate my system, and that's worked really well for me. So whenever we're making proposals or offers, contextualizing it is very important. So you don't want to, if you're talking to a gym, you don't want to say the word leads. You want to say members. If you're talking to a clinic, you want to say patients. So putting things into perspective for their business, of course, that's really how you showcase you speak their language, you come from their world, even if you don't. And a lot of my prep for this was done with ChatGPT the night before. I'm meeting with a gym. Tell me, all about the inner workings of a gym. I need to name drop things that showcase that I understand his world, and that I speak his language. So a lot of that is just done beforehand, right? But it makes a bigger difference than somebody coming in with a generic workflow saying, I can do this for your leads and generate you more revenue. So this makes a big difference. This one I really like. So this is kind of what I was alluding to. But strategic naming and framing makes a big deal, especially in the automation space, because of course we can all have nurture sequences and missed call text back and reputation management, but we're all saying the same thing. But if you just put a spin on it and you change reputation management to the 5-star review system, as basic as that is, but if you come up with something that sounds different, then it actually makes a genuine difference. Well, one industry that does this really well is sales books. So I don't know if you guys like read sales books, like the gap selling and the spin selling Sandler system. So a lot of these concepts within these sales books, I mean, I love them as well, but a lot of the concepts are very, mutually shared between all of these books, but they all created their own branding, their own spin, their own verbiage on it just to sell you the same thing. And I think that's very interesting, and that applies to business as well. Like the way you package something is how it's going to be perceived, and you have total control of that perception. And that's something we did really well. So in all of my branding, it's like I've come up with these proprietary terms that people haven't heard before, and they're like, I need to go with Hamza because nobody else has this. Everyone else is selling the same thing. So in whatever your offer is, I think putting that focus on, investing heavily in your branding makes a massive difference. The other one is just bundling outcomes. So we would never just sell an automation as it is, but we tried to value stack it as much as we could in terms of support. So just throwing things like strategy calls on it. The biggest fear that people have with automations or deployments in general is that you set it up and something breaks and I don't know what to do, or if you leave me, what's going to happen. So we alleviate all of that fear by including training calls, providing them with training material, resources, onboarding guides, things like that. So we noticed that made a big difference, just alleviating a lot of the risks that they felt on their part. Also, layering in proprietary values. So again, this goes back to similar to the branding, but making it feel like you have something, some sort of secret sauce that nobody else has, and that's why going with you makes that difference. So for us, for in the AI automation space, a lot of that is centered around the prompts that we have. We invest very heavily into prompt engineering and training. We do genuinely have world-class prompts, and prompting is something that you can replicate. The quality of your prompt, the input that you put will directly reflect into the output that you have. So if we have master level prompts and fantastic frameworks, that's hard for anybody else to replicate, and the output will show that. So we make that very clear in all of our marketing and all of our sales pitches that we've invested very heavily into generating these prompts. And then we obviously put our own branding and names on it, like the AI closing layer or things like that on top, just to add the extra special feel to it. But whatever you can do within your offer to make things feel like you're different to everybody else, definitely lean on that as much as you can. And of course, just reporting and visibility. So a lot of people will build things, and then the impact and the ROI of it will remain unclear. And especially if you want to hook somebody on for the long term, if you want that recurring revenue, then there has to be an ongoing proof of results or some sort of value being provided on an ongoing basis. Because something could be working in month one when there's an immediate impact, but month six, they either get used to it or the value drops off. So whatever you can do to keep it top of mind that yes, we're making progress, the investment that you made initially is still providing you results, that is something we hammered home. We kept bringing that up. We would do check-ins with them, the dashboard would update them, get them excited, and that helps you justify the retainer you have. So all of these together really bundled into positioning us in a way that nobody else could really compete because we invested so heavily in differentiating ourselves. So that's it, like on the differentiation side. Now, what I did from there is I basically created all of this stuff. So we would onboard clients for AI and automation. We would do these awesome projects for us, and then I wanted to scale from there. So then I went into content. So I know Johan mentioned a bit of my content strategy. So I'm going to go into that. But the focus of what I did is I didn't just want to be like everybody else and be like, this is you should get it started with AI and automation. These are the top 10 tools to use. Like basically just doing the generic stuff that everybody was. But all I wanted to do was share the proprietary stuff that I had built. So I wanted to do that in a very unique way. And that's what I would suggest to everyone as well. A lot of people say like the advice online to create content is like just find what's working, look at trends of what other people are doing, and then just copy those, put your own twist on it. I very rarely see that actually work very effectively. I think you have to genuinely find like the only guaranteed way of virality is to make something someone hasn't seen before. That's what stops us in our tracks. That's what's it's like, oh wow, you know what, this is interesting. Because for me, at least, that's the only reels I watch. If I see something twice, I'm like, I've already seen this. I'm not stopping. So I know it's easier said than done, but truly, if you can find something and if you can figure something out that is truly unique or spin on something so unique that people haven't seen it before, that is going to be your guarantee to virality. If you don't want to be viral, like if you don't care to get 500 to a million plus views, then of course you can copy trends and you can get a couple hundred to 1,000 views, and that could translate into some deals. But if you really want true virality, you have to invent a style of content, or you have to kind of blow people away. That's the route that I went. And of course, a lot of it was luck. I was trying things out and something hit and I stuck with it. So for example, my content, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's a lot of kind of what I've shown where it's like our workflows and things that I've built, our proprietary tech. And like an example, so these are some videos that did well, a couple 100,000 views, but what it is essentially is me breaking down automations to a very simple level that anyone could understand. So anyone who's non-technical would come across my video and be like, "This makes a lot of sense. It's a very sequential, step-by-step sequence of something technical, but broken down in a way that even me, someone who's normal, can understand." So that's the feedback that I get, where it's very simple and broken down, but the format is also something that people hadn't seen before. I think now it's a lot more popular because I think people have picked up on it, and the flowchart mural board like wave was created where everyone is now explaining concepts on these boards. But I truly think I was one of the first people to ever kind of bring this to short form and content, which was over almost 2 years now. So really like an example of it is just here, lead submits a Facebook form, automatic SMS, system analyzes the lead, identifies the agent, the broker. So it's basically a sequential workflow, very similar to the automation builder we have inside of Go High Level. I wanted to mimic that and just use that as a showcase of what's possible, what I've built. And this gets people really excited. I get hundreds of comments on every video. Like if I make a real estate video, I'll get realtors in my DMs saying, "Oh, this is awesome. We need this implemented for my system." So I get a mix of both B2B leads, and I also get students and want to be entrepreneurs as well who want to get started in the space. So the point of this is that I found something that, hasn't really been done before, something I hadn't seen before, and that's the number one feedback that I get. It's like, wow, this is really cool. I like the way that you put this together. I haven't seen this before. So then once I found something that works, I just hammered that in. I just went all in. So for the last almost 2 years, I've posted every 2 days. I have posted this exact system, like different workflows, just repeating them, time after time. And they still do well, like 60,000, 45,000, 30. So like the concept can be reused as long as it's extremely valuable. You're still innovating on it and you're just building upon that, right? So I've milked this for all that it's worth. I've basically been posting. I've done maybe 500 of these at this point. But the point is that you can find some sort of content angle that fits for your niche and for your system. I found this idea because I was watching like a physics lecture about something else, and he was using like a whiteboard to explain physics. And I took that concept and brought it to this space. So you can always find inspiration in other industries and find out what's working in like the gaming industry or like for food bloggers, what are they doing? A lot of the same concepts can be applied anywhere. I think the big thing now is like finding different formats or mediums of video. Like people are now doing the split screens, which works really well. People are doing like quick transition videos. So there's different ways. It's the science, and I get into that a bit about like the science of it and the art of coming up with videos. But it is really interesting. I think a lot of people overlook this and just say, if they can open up their camera and just say some stuff that it's going to go well. But you're competing against people who are using this as a literal science. Like we dissect our videos, we look at the analytics. I think I mentioned a bit about the analytics, but yeah, we basically look at the analytics, we look at the watch times, the drop off points. Like that is the competition that you're up against. So if you're, not putting that level of effort, then you need something else that's going to carry you. Something people haven't seen before, or something proprietary, or something only you can make. If you have a very unique circumstance, maybe I don't know, maybe you live in a certain place and you have dominant control over that market, whatever that is. If you have some sort of edge, then that's great. I didn't really have an edge. I just came up with a new idea, but everybody has something. And then once you find it, then consistency is going to be your key, and then just go all in from there. The other concept to touch upon is that not all leads are equal. So, for example, what I've shown you here is short form. What's worked for me on short form content like Instagram and TikTok is not what's going to work for me on YouTube. And I think that's a distinction that a lot of people don't realize, where they think, I'm just going to make it for one platform and cross post it across everything and hope it's going to work. That doesn't work. There's different algorithms you have to cater to, there's different nuances, and there's a different type of person that exists on every platform. So, like, I mean, if you're posting on Instagram, your audience is someone who's literally just probably doing this for like an hour. If you're on YouTube, it's more of a sophisticated user who's someone who's probably researching a specific topic, or they have the attention span at least to sit there for 5, 10, 15 minutes to watch through a video. That's a very different type of person to cater to and to create content for. And those are considerations I don't think people make. That's something I invest heavily into, differentiating my content. I have a team now that consults me for short form and a separate team that does my long form, because there's just so much that goes into it. And some of the things that will differentiate between those platforms is video structure. So for short form, like hook is everything. Like if you do not get a person in 3 seconds, you're gone. So if your hook isn't up to scratch, then that is like the number one thing to invest in. Luckily, there are analytics, so you can see, you can literally go and look at your videos analytics. What is the drop-off point? Are they making it past 3 seconds? If not, cut your hooks and start again. My hooks, I've tested these hooks so many times, like the speed that I'm saying it, the enunciation, the way that I pronounce the word, like I get that granular with it, and then I do such an in-depth comparison. I'm like, when I spoke like this, the drop-off point was here. When I spoke like this, it was here. So that's literally how I treat it because once you've cracked that, then it's like it's a game. You can kind of predict this video is going to do well, this one isn't, and things like that. The other thing I would mention as well is if you guys do consume content, I would recommend doing intentional consumption. What I mean by that is as you are scrolling, when you scroll past the video, try and go back to it and understand why did I scroll past it? What was wrong with the hook that didn't grab my attention? Was it lacking visual cues? Was it not exciting enough, loud enough, quick enough, whatever? And then when you do stop on the video, again, be intentional and recognize that. Why did I stop on this video? What was the topic about? Where's the person positioned? How good is the camera quality? Try and catch these nuances on what made you stop. Um, and then um, and then just reflect on that and incorporate that into your own strategy. For me, whenever I make a video, it's the question I always ask myself is, would I watch that myself? Would this stop me in my tracks? And would I be interested to finish this all the way? A lot of people inside of my community create videos and they send me the content. And then I ask them that question. I'm like, would you watch this? And they're like, no, I probably wouldn't. It's not a good piece of content, right? So if it doesn't pass your metric, then why would it pass anyone else's? And I think you just have to be honest with yourself. I've created a lot of content before I got into this style where I wouldn't watch it. I don't know why anyone else would. And that accountability does help because it stops you wasting time. If you think your content's amazing and it can't be any better, then you're going to waste your time. But if you're open and kind of humble to it, then you'll make mistakes quicker and then you'll pivot on them quicker as well. So I was talking about the different platforms. So the video structure, like I mentioned, the value to second ratio is also very important. So this is a metric where it's on short form. It's like every second truly has to be valuable because if there's an or a stutter or a gap or things or you're not you're there if there's fluff, if you're like using filler words and stuff, you've lost that person. So every word that I say is intentional. It's chosen. I say it quickly and I say it clearly because you have to keep delivering value. On YouTube, it's different. You have more time to build rapport, introduce yourself, guide them through the journey. The value can be sprinkled in throughout. However you want to do it, YouTube's different, but it's very quick on short form. Then the call to actions are very important as well. A call to action on short form content is there. Like I think I get into this a bit more, but a call to action in short form because of the lead quality being lower, I like to have more friction before they can actually get to me or get to whatever the actual call to action is. Meaning that, for example, if they are on Instagram, they have to put a comment on my videos. I think I talk about this in a sec. Yeah, so my conversion machine and Instagram, I'll just jump to this. But basically, for them to actually get to any of my systems, they have to comment a keyword on one of my videos to show that they're interested. Then they get an auto DM directly from my account asking them to engage. If they engage and say, yeah, I'm not a bot, or yes, I am interested, then that wakes up an Instagram agent that I have, which qualifies the lead. So it's trained on all of the offers and everything about me, basically to mimic myself. And it finds out exactly what the right offer is for that person and sends them that call to action. So I've intentionally, for short form, put all these hoops that they have to go through so the right person can reveal themselves. Because if you do the opposite and you open up your short, I'm talking from the point of view of somebody who has like an abundance of leads and a lot of traffic. So this might not be applicable, but I'm just saying that the quality on Instagram is a lot lower, meaning that I've set up these barriers so the right people can go through them and make themselves known to me so my time isn't wasted. If I open the floodgates to everybody on my socials, my calendar would be booked out forever, right? And there would be a lot of tire kickers and time wasters. The reason I bring it up is that the call to action on YouTube, for example, is going to be very different because it's a higher quality, more sophisticated lead. I'm more than happy to put a book a call action or maybe a quiz funnel directly in the description of a YouTube video because I'm very happy for that person to make themselves known to me so then we can, bring them into our ecosystem and nurture them. So the call to actions are also very important and something to consider. I think people just kind of spray and pray and do the same thing on every platform. So just be mindful of that. I mentioned the quality of audience as well, so I won't cover that. And then the amount of nurturing required as well. So if somebody comes in for my short form, they're tagged and I know who they are. They enter our Go High Level ecosystem. But then they also require more nurturing. It's like we need to make sure are they the right person? because they've consumed such a small portion of my content. It's a 30-second reel with no real information about what I do, who I am, what I offer, what I sell. So it requires a lot more nurturing. So that's a consideration to make. Put them through your email sequences, introduce them to yourself, things like that. With YouTube, it's like if you've sat through a 30-minute video with me, watched my tutorial, you're happy about it, you commented, you don't need that much nurturing. A lot of that has been done and pre-qualified, so we can get straight on with it from there. So yeah, it's a consideration to make. So I went through my conversion machine. So this works extremely well. It's basically firing at all times. It runs pretty much 24/7. We have over 1,000 unique conversations a month of it just speaking to leads, qualifying them, disqualifying them, booking. So it works really well. If you look at my like go level automation list, it's just like auto DM automations right here, and we get like hundreds of people who come in per video. So the more videos I make, obviously the comments will just grow. Like in one video, we got 1,000 unique people just coming from a dentist video, which is almost a remake of a video I made previously. So I'm getting to a point where I'm kind of just starting to recycle videos, and the comments keep coming. So I started doing that because I was looking at my analytics again, and I noticed that 80% of the views or something were coming from new followers. So the traffic I was getting on the new video I posted were completely brand new people. So I thought to myself, I was like, why don't I just start kind of just remaking and reposting older videos since it's going to a new audience anyway? My existing audience isn't going to be fatigued or care. So then I started doing that. That's when the growth really started because the leverage was there. I didn't have to spend time filming anymore. I could just start repurposing what I already had. And that's when things really took off because now I was just able to scale so quickly. So that's another consideration to make when you're looking at your analytics. See who your audience is. If the algorithm is favoring you and pushing you to strangers, then you can kind of repeat videos. Your best videos, just repeat them, remake them, and just keep smashing them out. Just to give you some insight into what that DM workflow looks like. Basically, they comment on the workflow. We wait a couple seconds to sound human. DM goes out, response on the comment. So the initial DM that I send is, hey, we get a lot of spam messages. I just want you to reply yes if you are actually interested in, receiving the normally a lead magnet. So if you're interested in receiving the automation course or whatever, if they say yes, then I consider them to be legit somewhat interested. So that's already a friction point. And then we send them the lead magnet. We wait. I send another follow up in 24 hours. Hey, did you get in? Did you get access to everything? From there, if they say yes or no, whatever, the bot will take over and start just nurturing them throughout for however long they need. So that system runs pretty much on autopilot. I have hundreds and hundreds of these, but the conversion mechanism is great. I keep refining this. I've got it down to pretty much a T where we know that this is converting very effectively. The other thing that I've trained the bot to do as well is so now we'll enter like my school funnel is it always pushes my free school to act as my top of funnel. So that is like even when people ask for my templates and stuff, I always say that they're hosted inside of my school so I can get them to enter my ecosystem. The last thing you want to do is just send a Google Drive or a document away without ever capturing that lead's information or it was basically pointless at that point, right? So what they do is they join my school ecosystem. The important part is their email and phone number gets sent to my Go High level so they can enter my ecosystem. That's when they're added to my newsletter, the nurture campaigns. Then we've got the entire sales team now, which the appointment setters reach out, they book calls for the closers. So we've worked out this into a mechanism now where we can set this up. And of course, a lot of them will convert organically anyway. So the benefit of my lead magnet being a free school community is that within it, it's almost like a YouTube substitute where people come into it, that they recognize me, they see an introduction video, they go through the different levels. So if you can create a community, then that is extremely valuable. It doesn't obviously have to be the size of mine, but a small community with 100, 200 people is still extremely valuable if you can foster that. And yeah, like I mentioned, so the long form conversion machine is going to be different because the quality on YouTube is so high. A direct book a call link is still the best route to go. With YouTube, you want the least amount of friction. On a YouTube lead, you want them to get on a call because you don't want them to be lost along the way. That's actually extremely valuable for us. So yeah, I think I covered this stuff. Uh, yeah. So in terms of actual content, so if you're wondering what kind of content to make, especially on long form, the meta on YouTube is still making extremely valuable tutorials and showcases. If you guys have any, client testimonials or projects or things that you've done tangibly, those should definitely be on YouTube, being broken down, of course, redacted and anonymized for anything sensitive. But just talk about everything that you've built, break it down to a level where, a simple person could understand because you want them to enter your ecosystem and you want other business owners to see that as well. So my best performing videos, the ones that have done over 100,000 views, are just me. Here's a chatbot that I built for a client, and it's literally a step-by-step process. And the thing is, one, you can't really talk about stuff anymore. Like before, used to be like, you guys should be, putting chatbots on your website. This is the best thing to do. It's going to convert so much stuff. You can't just talk anymore. Like people need to see things, need to see outcomes. They have to see results. They have to see the behind the scenes of things being built. And the other important thing is the days of gatekeeping are also gone. Because I think before it's like you used to make like teasers on YouTube and on content where it's like, this is what I could do. And if you want to find out, come book a call with me and check this out, right? But the issue is that if you are the one gatekeeping, then you're always going to lose to the person who's willing to just give everything away. That's who I was. I was the guy who was just giving everything away. So all the gatekeepers were like, what the hell are we supposed to do, right? This guy, he has the secret sauce and he's giving it all away. So that was my edge, and that's why people came to me. They're like, "Wow, this is amazing free value. There's so much stuff here. I need to learn from this guy." So that grew really quickly. And then the number one question that I got was like, "Why aren't you charging for this information? I can't believe this is free." So that builds so much goodwill with the audience, and that puts you in at a very good position compared to someone who's like sneaky and like gives off vibes that they're kind of holding things back. But for me, of course, this was all intentional. Like as much as I, want to be like a saint and someone just give everything away, it's intentional because it gets them to think and puts them in this framework that, if this is his free stuff, imagine what his paid stuff would be like. Like imagine what he has inside of the communities, imagine what he has inside of the programs and the courses, or, I need to work with him as a business because imagine what he could do for me, right? So that's the mentality that they would come in framed as, where they're like, yeah, I need to work with you. Like the stuff you have is amazing. So that's how I would position it, and that's what's worked really well. And if you are looking to make content, I think just don't be nervous to kind of put your stuff out there. Now, of course, if you have something proprietary and something that gives you an edge in the market, then be sensitive and play your cards correctly with that. But the thing I found with AI is eventually people are going to find out whatever I'm doing anyway. The edge that I have is going to go very soon, and someone's going to make content about it, and someone's going to take this advantage I have right now. So I was like, I need to move quickly. I need to get this out there. I need to be the first guy to make a chatbot. I was the first person to make a chatbot about DeepSeek. When that first came out, I made a video on that. That video went super viral because I capitalized on trends, on the latest news, on the tools. So that's a tactic that I've used, and it works extremely well. So the same thing can apply to pretty much any industry and whatever you're creating content about. So something that's just worked really well for me. The other thing that works really well is I know like people are like, if I create content giving away all this stuff, then people are just going to steal it. But what I've found is people are extremely lazy. Like I could give them the entire secret and the blueprint and everything that they need done, and they'll still come to me and say, I'll pay you to just do this for me. I know you can do it. I've seen it on YouTube. I'll just pay you to do it. That has happened so many times. Like you think they're going to sit there and basically copy your entire business model and take it and take your competition. They will not. I've seen it firsthand. So most people will just prefer to do it with me, and then I've built all the goodwill, and it's very easy to close deals from there. So that's been working extremely well for my strategy. And just some pointers on why I use the free school as my lead magnet. And I recommend you guys do it as well. One is that it basically instantly positions yourself as an authority, as an expert. If you come into a community and I'm like the host or you're the host, then there's already that disconnect where it's like, okay, they're above us. We look up to them in some sense, and we want to learn from them. So that distance has already been made. It's smaller when you're a content creator and they're a follower, but it's bigger when it's like they're the community, host and owner. So you want to have that gap as big as possible. So like if you're speaking at seminars and events and you're running like events, for example, that's even higher than a community, for example. So there's different levels that you can do, but try and build that authority gap as much as you can. The worst thing is if you're trying to sell at the same level, or if you're trying to, promote something and they see you as like an equal, then it's like, it's very hard to get that across, but just build that distance. So I invest very heavily in my personal brand. So like we've established hamzabaig.com, and when you Google me, like there's articles, and like people now see me as an authority and as an expert, and I'm getting speaking engagements, and I do a lot of podcasts. So I invest very heavily into spacing this gap out because I know how important that is. And if you guys want to position yourself as an authority and people, if you want inbound traffic and people like dying to work with you, then that is something you have to invest in yourself. I think it's great to have a company and a persona for your business, but a personal brand is really what takes it to the next level. Like, who is the person behind the business? Because that's all about trust. That's about, I can see a face, I can look into somebody's eyes. That's who I want to work with. A lot of people want to just hide behind the business and a corporation, and the results just, are massively different there. So invest in a personal brand if you haven't already. The other benefit of a community is that it's a lot more intimate than social media. If I put a story out, it's kind of just there, it's in the ether, it's talking to everybody. If I make a post inside school and all my close community members can see it, it has a bigger effect. I get a lot more comments, engagements, people get hyped up, they get excited. It's very easy for me to sell products, promote directly inside of my community. I prefer doing that over anything else. The results are also reflective of that. The other benefit is that the network effects are very strong, meaning that if you get a client win, if you post a testimonial in your community, if somebody else gets some success, if one of your clients goes in there and posts, "Hey, Johan just helped me close a $20,000 deal. You guys should definitely work with him." Whatever that is, if you can establish and foster that kind of community, then it's just going to keep compounding. People are going to see that, they're going to get excited. A lot of people who are on the fence are going to jump in. People who haven't heard about your community will find it. So there's a lot of that network effect that takes place, and that's really what snowballed my success as well. Like, we get a lot of inbound, a lot of referrals, a lot of affiliates who come who want to just promote and sell for us just because of the reputation that we've built. The other really important thing is you have a very highly curated funnel because you basically build your community. You control the narrative, you control the ecosystem. Every video that I have, every course that I have in there, every post that I make is what I want, them to see, how I want it to be positioned, what I want to say. So I'm kind of controlling that narrative, pushing them along a funnel, and it's everything that I've chosen. If you're using other platforms like, for example, Instagram, if they're going through like my Instagram feed, maybe you get hit by another video or you fall off on a tangent, you go somewhere else, or maybe you read a comment that puts you off. Whatever that is, you can control a community far more than you can just general social media, because you're kind of the writer and the director of how that's being run. And then there's just logical ascension. If you have a free tier community, then people are expecting a paid one, or they're expecting some sort of products or upsells. And, you can have your team deeply entrenched in their selling and promoting stuff. So I would recommend putting that together. And then it's just a logical ascension from there, which I think is pretty effective. So, just some key takeaways, just to recap. I know I covered a lot, but there's a lot to go through. Like, for this stuff, I mean, I love talking about this stuff because this is like the meta. Like, what I do and talk about inside of my community is like, here's how to run an AI automation agency. Here's how to, get clients. Here's how to build chatbots and things. But the real meta from a business owner's perspective who's looking to scale is like, what's happening behind the scenes? Like, how do you actually build this stuff for yourself rather than for your clients? For the longest time, I was the person who would just focus solely on my clients, building them the best automations, and my business was suffering because I would never spend time automating myself or implementing what I tell others to implement for myself, because one, I was so busy, and two, it just wasn't a priority. The minute I stepped back and did it for myself and implemented everything you see above here is when everything else grew as well. So if you're not already, take some time to reflect on your own operations, do your own, automations on your own organization. That's really what helps. So I'll just do some key takeaways because I know we're running up on time. So one for me is focus on automations, not tools. Go high level is fantastic, but all it is a tool. It's not a product. It's for me at least. It's not the end product. It's not something that I want to openly promote. It's simply, can it get me to where I want to be? Yes or no? And if yes, I'm going to use it. If no, there's a better tool out there for the job. I am not exclusive. I'm totally agnostic to any platform. I will find whatever the best platform is for the job to get that done. Sometimes it's not go high level. It might be make.com, Zapier, N8N. It could be anything, right? So that has allowed me a lot more freedom because I can solve any problem now in the world. People who are exclusive to go high level are very limited. They're like, I can only do what's in this ecosystem. And if it's not, then I'm kind of stuck. I have to hack something together. The outcome isn't going to be great. And then you're stuck in a weird position. So the minute you can kind of open your horizons, the more flexibility you're going to have with what you can build. The second key takeaway is branding and packaging of your proposals, offers, even how you brand yourself and how you brand everything you do is extremely important and very overlooked. Please don't tell people you have missed call text back and reputation management and a voice receptionist. They've heard this a million times. put a spin on it, spend some time with ChatGPT and say, I'm trying to redo my product list or my offer, and I want it to sound like something no one has ever heard before. These are the typical names of things people offer. Help me come up with a new brand identity. Help me come up with something that's catchy, that's different, that sounds proprietary. And you'll notice that people are more attracted to that as well. So yeah, it's something that I do, and I've noticed a massive difference. So, incorporate that into what you're doing. Third is content is key. So obviously a lot of this and a lot of my success is centered around content. If I never decided to get in front of a camera, I would not be here talking today. I would not have been able to achieve anything that I've achieved. And I think everyone who creates content just tells other people to create content, but it truly is true. Like that's what makes that difference. A lot of people are on the fence because, of course, you might be, shy or nervous, or you might not feel comfortable in front of camera. One thing I can tell you is that for the first 8 months of me creating content, I did not show my face. Even to this day, a lot of my content is faceless. If your content is truly valuable and it's something people haven't seen before, and it's like it's making an impact, it doesn't matter if who's behind it, what you look like, what your face is. I get recognized just from my voice. I've gone to networking events and people are like, "Oh, I've heard this guy's voice before," just because of the impact that the videos make, right? So I don't think that should be a barrier to entry. Even now, you can clone your face, you can use AI avatars using tools like Arcads or something. So there's really no excuse not to make content, unless there's time permitting. But I would recommend you guys just take that plunge if you haven't already, because that's when everything changes. But don't make like lazy content for the sake of it. Just because Hamza said make content doesn't mean you just make any random content, right? It has to truly be content that you would watch, that would stop somebody in their tracks and be like, wow, this is interesting. And if it's not, then don't post it. Don't waste your time just posting things that you wouldn't watch for the sake of it. Spend that exact same time trying to find something unique or unique spin on something, invest into coming up with a unique way of making content. That fits into, find your own style. Don't copy others. Don't just do trends and remake other videos. I've never seen it work very effectively. Study the algorithms on different platforms. Like I mentioned, short form and long form are very different beasts, and you should treat them as such. Use AI and automation to automate your entire social media funnel. So, of course, this is secondary to getting traffic first. So, traffic first, find your content style, put that out there, and then learn how to make a mechanism and automate all of that into traffic. But this is still very integral. And then leverage free communities or some sort of lead magnet to foster, gain authority, build an ecosystem to be able to sell your offers, to position yourself as that authority. And that's really what's going to take it to the next level. I think if I didn't have a community, I don't know where I would be sending all of these people. If I was just nurturing them on an email list, it definitely would not have been the same. They wouldn't know who I am, what I offer, what I do. So it's really allowed me to take things to the next level. And I think a lot of people think that it's not for them, but there's nothing special about me either. Like I'm just a regular person, like Johan was saying at the beginning. When I won the Platinum SaaSpreneur Award, I literally did not have an office. It was just me in my room on my bed. I was just getting signups every day. My only employee was my sister, and we were having fun. We are just making money, figuring things out. Now, obviously, I've scaled this into a proper operation because I know where this can go and the potential that it has. But really, if I can come from those beginnings, anybody can do this. So that's really what I wanted to cover here. It's a whole mix of, AI, school, creating communities, content. Content is king, of course. But if you guys have any questions, that's pretty much me. I think pretty good
Man,
on time. But
Hamza,
yeah, we'll open it up.
you have absolutely killed it. My DMs are going nuts. People are going, where did you find this guy? Where is he from? Oh my God,
Wow.
this has been the best presentation we have seen. I believe that you need to be on every freaking stage, dude. What you covered in 1 hour or 45 minutes is a mix of everything from Hormozy to Brunson to
Insane.
the greatest marketing sales strategies, all condensed down into one, plus a step-by-step walkthrough. I put in the comments, I'm going to be watching this 10 times. That's not even a joke. What you have presented is epic. And I know you've been spending the whole week putting this stuff together. And I really want to say thank you so much for
Wow.
completely over delivering.
Wow, I
Um,
really appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
go,
Absolutely
Mr.
incredible, man. Like, Kyle and I are chatting privately in our thing, just going, "Oh my God, like this is incredible, man. Your ability to deliver and your actual science behind what you're doing is just spectacular." Like, guys, for everybody that's here, we'll have this on our YouTube channel and we'll have this in our community, but go back again and listen and analyze because this is true mastery at work. So Hamza, wow, what a breakthrough, man, just to be able to lay that out exactly how you're doing it. I love there's a couple of big things for me. I love reading through the comments, people picking up the same thing. Don't be lazy in the content. Don't duplicate what other people are doing. Make content that you would watch. I made a massive note there in all caps on my meeting note taker, which was literally just content is the highest form of leverage. Boom, straight up, and being able to then make that worthwhile and make it view worthy. The way that you broke this down, dude, honestly, I was expecting to jump on and get a masterclass going on about automations because that's what you're famous for. But I think what you've just given
Yeah.
everybody here is a masterclass on business growth. And I appreciate that so much, man. Like it's absolutely incredible. So guys, pop in the chat, drop in some huge love for Hamza because this is for me a massively valuable session. I think this is yeah, just a true masterclass, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. I'm glad it was helpful and useful. Now, of course, I mean, you guys can learn all the basics of AI automation. That's not what I wanted to cover here. I think this is a special group that, are in special positions. And I think me just sharing what I've done, what I've learned, that is more valuable than anything. And I don't put this anywhere else. So what I've revealed to you guys here is like literally behind the curtains, behind the scenes, because I can't talk this way on my YouTube. Like I'm literally talking about my leads and my community and followers and stuff. So this is really the secret sauce. And like I mentioned, in the presentation, I don't gatekeep. I give everything out there. I share it because if I don't, someone else will. And then, that's how it works. So very happy to share with you guys.
Man,
Amazing.
and this has opened up so many different doors. So people come from a place of scarcity. That's the old school mentality, as you were saying. And by you sharing everything on your channels, the opportunities that it's opened up to work with some of the world's top people. I don't know if you want to share that or not, but what you've shared with me, I'm just like, wow, that's how he's opened up these doors to some of the biggest people in the industry. So well done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can share. Like, if you guys don't know, I'm Ty Lopez's automation coach. So he brought me in. I flew out to his place in LA in Beverly Hills, worked with him and his team. We did a podcast together. I'm currently working with Joel Kaplan as well, Johan. That's newer news. He brought me on. So all these other coaches. So everyone online who is running some sort of business model before is all pivoting to AI and automation. Like everyone knows that this is the future. So all those other business models, everything else that they were pushing is now going to this space. So they're all coming to me now because I've been in this for like 2 years, and they're like, we need to put together offers or promotions or help us, work on this. So I'm, very fortunate to be in this position, and we'll see where it goes.
Well
Amazing.
done, man.
Amazing. And
Again,
again, like for those who are thinking, I can't give away my best stuff for free. Look at what's happened as a result of that. Because you've done that, because you've removed the gatekeeper mentality and just literally given the best in everything that you're doing, now you have those massive doors that open up and opportunities to work in bigger and bigger environments that are bringing more and more opportunities. So, dude, again, amazing. I am absolutely in awe. We're going to make sure that we have this on the YouTube channel, of course. Kyle's popped that into the chat box there. Hamza, I'm thrilled to be catching up with you later on as well. We're going to be talking about your rise as an influencer and what that actually means. But guys, this is a real, I think, starting point for you to be able to look at what's going on in the marketplace, create that community out there. Hamza, I've got a tech question, which I'm pretty sure the people here will be interested in. Why school, not the GHL communities? What was your reasoning there?
I was just unfortunate when I started the school community. It was before Go High Level had anything. They
Yeah,
hadn't
right.
made it
Okay,
at the
cool.
time. This
I,
was
I'm
like almost 2.5 years ago, before Hermosi even invested.
There you go. Yeah, you were pre-Hermosi. You can use that. You can have that as an accolade. That's cool. And again, I think that comes back to your very first point that you underlined. Focus on outcomes, not tools. Right? It's just it doesn't matter which one you go for. Just go for one. Create the
Exactly.
the outcome that you're looking for and get that done. So that's absolutely fascinating. As Aaron said, I'm creating a Go Collab account tonight. I think Kyle and Johan and I have talked often about the value of the community and how that community should be stacked together. But this has just again re-sparked the necessity for that. One of the Kyle, I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to read out a private comment that Kyle sent to me because we were talking about before the recording started. We were talking about getting more people onto our trading calls because there's so much value and all that kind of stuff. And how can we get more email opens? Kyle made a comment in our private communication here where he said he's right. People are in your community, they're no longer in your inbox. And I was like, damn, there it is. To get the attention and hold the attention of the people that you're trying to reach, it's the community that makes that happen. So again, Hamza, I'm in awe, dude. Absolutely amazed. Amazing to have you with us. Guys, thank you so much for jumping in and making the session with Hamza interactive and valuable and giving him some love. Reach out and we'll make sure that his follow links and how you can keep in touch with Hamza and follow along with what he's doing. If we've got any questions that you'd like me to ask Hamza on our interview coming up, drop them in the chat now, and I'll make sure I cover them off when we get together in a couple of hours. But again, guys, thank you to our team, our community, our people right here for being on our weekly training calls and seeing the value that we're bringing. Hamza, thank you to you, dude, for bringing the heat. Absolutely amazing. We love it. And again, we want to make sure that we're sending people over so they can keep learning from you and keep doing incredible things. So, dude, thank you so much.
Dude,
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it, and I hope to be back.
We're gonna be sending this recording far and wide. Well done. This is
huge.
So good.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Let's go and crush it. See you soon, guys. Thank you.